Hi, I'm Judy Lynn and this is your Monday morning shift. What we will be shifting today is our emotional habits. Have you noticed or are you aware that many of us develop emotional habits in the first place? Well, we do. And these habitual emotions happen without much conscious thought on our part. Let me explain a little bit. We react in a certain way to certain stimuli or circumstance. If you pay close attention, you'll see that you will have the same emotional response pretty much every time. There will be certain things, people, or situations that trigger a particular response in you, right? If you take note of your response during these times, I'll bet you'll discover that the emotion is much the same every single time. We don't even stop to think or consider another response. We just go with the familiar. It's kind of like a knee-jerk reaction. What's the big deal, you might ask? Well, it's not a big deal if the emotional response is light and it brings you joy. But what about those emotional responses that take you in quite the opposite direction? Here's an example of an emotional habit. Most of us drive, right? We're on the road a lot these days. Let's say you're someone who reacts in anger when another car cuts you off or does something that you consider really stupid on the road. And that anger can sometimes range from being annoyed to just agitated or irate, road rage for some, right? This sort of emotional response does not bring you joy. In fact, it brings the opposite. And it might not be drivers that trigger you. It could be anything. It might be something else. But if the situation is the same each time and it's not feeling good, you've got yourself an emotional habit. Here's what I know to be true. If we stop before we react emotionally and think about it for a second, we discover that in reality, not everyone on the road in this example who cuts us off, for instance, is rude or stupid. There could be a million other reasons for their action that day. Perhaps they just received a call that their loved one is being taken to the hospital and they're distracted with worry on their way. Or they just got some bad news and they're driving home to deal with it. Now, granted, these really aren't the most ideal circumstances to be on the road either. But that's not our decision, right? Sometimes things happen and people don't feel they have much of a choice. The point is, if you stop and consider possible reasons other than the reason that causes you to respond in anger, which is usually you think they're stupid or they're being rude or something, in that case, your emotional response to the trigger would be more than likely different. You may find yourself responding with a lot more patience and understanding. Wouldn't that be cool? The offensive driver won't know one way or the other, but you will, and your body will. We spend a lot of our waking hours in emotional habit, and it affects our health, our peace of mind, and overall happiness. Commit to raising your awareness for the emotional habits that you might have fallen into. You can find them. I know I found quite a few, and it was a surprise how many there really were. So let's do a little tapping to let go of the habit of responding or reacting and open up to the possibility of conscious emotional response. One that takes you out of reactive and into responsive in a way that is to the benefit of your own well-being. So let's do a little bit of tapping and we're going to start with the side of the hand. Even though I react to certain things without thinking sometimes, I honor who I am and love myself anyway. Even though when I react this way, it doesn't feel good to me or to those around me, I accept who I am and honor how I feel. Even though I feel it would be hard to change, and I'm not sure I really want to, I love and accept who I am. Now we're going to tap through the points, starting with the eyebrow. I'm going to move through the points. You can either do 1 or 2, whatever you're comfortable with. I like 2. Double tapping. I feel stuck in my reactions sometimes. But most of the time, I feel it's validated. Side of that. I wonder if it's possible to change how I respond to certain things. especially those things that upset me. Under the eye. I'm open to the possibility that I can change this. Open to thinking outside the box. Under the nose. My reactions don't feel good to me. I'm open to finding a way to respond so it brings peace. Chin point. My response only really matters to me. They either bring me peace and joy, or they bring me distress and unhappiness. Collarbone. I'm open to expanding my way of handling things, especially those things that usually upset me. I have a choice. Under the arm. There is always another way to look at something. I choose the way that brings me more peace and happiness. Wrists together. Releasing my need to respond in the old way. Releasing the energy around all of that. And top of the head. I commit to raising my awareness and consciously responding in a healthier, more productive way. To my highest good and to the highest good of those around me. Good job. Now if you need to, do another round. In something like this, awareness is most of it, and a desire to make a conscious choice towards your own well-being. Because we all know what stress does to our health, right? Thank you for joining me, and please, if you haven't already signed up for the Monday Morning Shift newsletter, where you will receive tapping tips, sometimes some scripts, and other techniques and cutting-edge info to help you live a life of purpose and wealth by design, you can do that at harmoniclivingnow.com. Becoming happy and stress-free. It's kind of important stuff, and you're doing a great job. So keep up the good work. Life really is what you make it. So go out there and make it your own.